Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please confirm in the chat box. Thank you. Sai Varun. Thank you very much. Okay. So let's stop the chat. Our agenda for today's session is to understand about two more objects called deployment object and service object. Okay. So for that, let's create a cluster as usual in the Google Cloud Platform. Sign in. Sign into the Google Cloud. One minute, please. Let's connect to the cluster. Run in Cloud Shell. We have created a folder in the last session. Demo files. Yes, all the files what we have created are here. Okay. So Anuj, we have what are objects we have discussed in Kubernetes?
So pods.
We have started with one
pods.
Minute. We have started with the first object called pod,
Pods.
and next we have discussed about replication controller.
Replication controller.
And then we have discussed
set
replication set is same as replication controller. And
okay,
only difference is replication set can exist. It can take the orphan pods. Okay.
Yes, right.
And then replication set we have learned about how can we perform scaling.
Right.
We have scaled up and scaled down. That's what we have discussed up in the last sentence. Okay, last session. Today, now I am introducing one more object called deployment object. Okay. Now we are learning about deployment object. So what is a job done by this deployment object? It's also a high level object used for scaling. Scaling anyway is done by replication set, isn't it, Anuj?
Right. Right.
So this object is used for scaling, load balancing. Load balancing is also done by replication set. You can see multiple parts. And the new thing what it can do is it can perform rolling updates. On top of these two features, what it can do is it can perform rolling updates. Let's learn how can we perform rolling updates using a deployment object. I want to create a deployment file to run Nginx 1.7.9 is nothing but version n.7.9 with 3 replicas, and then perform rolling update from I want to upgrade from 1.7.9 to 1.9.1. 9.1. That's what I want to update it. So let's do that. Every definition file should have 4 top level elements: API version, kind, metadata, and specification.
Right.
API version, if it is a deployment object, it should refer to app/v1. Okay. V1. Right. Kind refers to what kind of object we are creating. We are creating a deployment object. In the metadata, obviously, you need to provide a name to the deployment object. I'm writing it as Nginx-deployment. Labels is any user-defined KP pair. Author, I'm writing it as Sunil, and type I'm writing as proxy server. Fine. Right. In the specification, as we want 3 replicas, I'm specifying the replicas as 3. Selector field. Using match labels, if there is orphan pods whose author is Sunil and types of proxy server, that will be added as part of this particular replica. Okay.
Right.
Template. This is what name of the pod. Agree?
Right.
This
Right.
metadata is name of the pod. And this is the label for the pod. This is the label for the pod. Type as proxy server. Okay, Anuj.
Right. And last is the Docker image name.
Specification. Specification is all about final Docker. The name of the container based on what image. The Nginx default port runs on 80. I'm mapping it to some port number. Got it?
Right.
Clear about this.
Right.
So let's go ahead and create a replication object. Replication.
So now labels are not mandatory, right? If we
labels are not mandatory. Labels are not mandatory.
I hope when we practice this in AWS and other, we have an option to upload our file, right? Instead of copy and paste and create.
Yeah. Fine. Instead of VI editor, I create using cat command.
The syntax error comes.
Deployment.yaml file. The file name is deployment.yaml file. Copy. Paste. Control D. Yes, the file has been created. What is the name of the file?
Deployment.yaml.
The first one, deployment.yaml file. Next.
Need to run it.
Anuj, kubectl get pods will show you pods. Right. Get replication set will get replication sets. Get nodes will show you nodes. Get all will show you all the
service, everything.
Yes. Just to know the current status of the objects. Okay, this is the default one. A default service gets execute always. Okay. So whenever you create a cluster, so don't worry, nothing, no pods, nothing, isn't it, Anuj?
Nothing, right?
No pods, no replication sets, nothing. Okay. Now
we don't have anything. Yes.
The file name is deployment.yaml file. I'm running that particular deployment.yaml file. So what should happen? Deployment object should get created.
Correct.
The name of the deployment object we already have created in the metadata. Nginx-deployment.
Right. It will creating 3 pods.
So one deployment object should have how many pods? 3 pods.
3 pods.
Yes. Get deployment will give you a list of deployment objects. We have only one deployment object. Okay.
Right.
One deployment object. Okay. As per the deployment object, you should have 3 pods. Okay.
3 pods.
Perfect. Get pods.
Correct. 3 pods, 1 on each node.
3 pods. Fine.
Yep.
Get all.
Will show IP address and everything.
That is output, wide output. I'm talking about get all.
Oh, it will show everything created.
This is interesting. When you see get all, this is the command, Anuj. 3 pods expected output.
Yeah.
This is the default one. Anyways, don't worry. This is the deployment object. Interestingly, replication set got created. Replication set got created. This means the deployment of replication set is subset of deployment object.
Right.
Because these 2 activities are internally done by what? Replication
deployment.
Set.
Right.
Replication set. So on top of for performing crawling updates, you have to perform deployment object. So you have to understand that whenever you create a deployment object, underlining a replication set will be created automatically. And that replication set will handle this concept of scaling and load balancing, and deployment object performs a rolling update. Okay, so pod, and then so deployment object subset is replication set. Replication subset inside this you have bots. Okay,
right.
Hierarchy. Clear?
Correct.
So that's the reason I have just shown you this point before making sure that before by deleting all the objects. Now you can see. Now you can see a deployment object will be created. Fine. Where is this? Where are we?
Or under down.
One minute. Get pods, get all. Okay. Now take a full name of the deployment object which you have created. Full name. When I say full name of the deployment object, it is this one, deployment.apps./nginx deployment. So I already have taken now the deployment.apps/nginx deployment. Now using deployment object, what you have to achieve? You have to achieve rolling update.
Rolling updates.
The command to perform rolling update. kubectl -record. This syntax. This is the name of the deployment object. Okay. Whatever you have taken a note of it. Okay. Set. Finally, if you want to update, technically speaking, image should be updated inside the container.
Correct.
So set image. Okay. Set image of this particular deployment object. As per syntax, we should write deployment.v1.app/. This is nomenclature. This is for standard for process you need to follow. / name of the deployment object. Nginx equal to Nginx colon
new version
9.9.1. Okay, that means you are updating the image present inside your deployment object. Okay.
Okay.
Get all 3 pods. Okay, fine. When you run this, image updated. Image updated. Okay, next. Now get pods.
We should have one more message, right? 3 image should be updated. We got only 2.
No, actually we should get only 1. Okay, by somehow we are getting it printed 2 times.
Okay. I thought that it will keep updating and then we'll get a pop-up message.
No, that you will experience it in the pod level. Get pods. See, the new pod get. What do you mean a rolling update? We already have discussed this one after the other. It will not be updated all at once. That's why it's called as a rolling update. The first pod created, okay, it's still pending. Once the first pod is running pod, and the second pod will be replaced. Third pod will be replaced. Finally, at any point of time, 3 pods will be running. Pod by pod, it gets updated. Got it, Anuj? That's why these are called as rolling updates.
Sunil, in Docker, it created a kind of different image with new version. And we have, if we are having 3 image over there, we perform the updates, we get 6. Remember?
The old pods will be closed. The old pods will be will be stopped, and then new pods will be created.
But yes, but at a point in time when we check it out, we see
you
that
can see that the
pods
list
are there.
Old pods and list of all the new pods. Total 6 pods will have it.
But here, same condition will be here also.
But here it will not be the case. It will be pod after the pod. Okay. Finally, at any point of time, 3 pods will be running. Okay.
So there is no point of going to the old version.
No need. For example, next. How to confirm this pod should have the latest image, isn't it? 1.9.1 should be updated, right?
Public IP.
If you want to take that, if you want to get more information about the pod, last session we have seen, whenever you want to know the more information about the pod, more information is about technical details behind the pod. Technical details is nothing but the container details, what image it is using. That you have to check it, right? Where to check whether the rolling update is happened or not. So take the name of the pod. I'm taking the name of this particular pod.
But this is pending.
Yeah, this is pending, but it's still pending, but it takes the new image. That's the reason. This is a new pod. This is the updated pod. Okay. So I have taken a new pod. And then kubectl describe follow the new pod name. Could be pending. That's not a problem, but you can see the technical details.
Is there any command to refresh this particular screen, just like
get pods? No. Get pods. That's it. You need to check it. So describe pods. Image is what? Now in this pod, what image is used?
1.9. Right.
Got it.
Yes.
So like this, get pods. So again, let's see. I think pod by pod it gets updated. I think let's see now how many pods are getting updated. It will take some time. Okay, because still it is updating. Okay, so because we have a less Kubernetes needs a very heavy configuration, so that is the
So
reason we are facing.
so if we check other ones, I hope we'll be
It will be
getting the
older. It will be
older
older
version.
because look at the age of the pod is 6 minutes. Okay, this is
Right.
only 3 minutes. This is the new pod with effect of this command which we have created. Record. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Perfect. So this is about deployment object. The deployment
Objects.
object is a superset of replication set because it can perform additional functionality called
Function.
rolling updates.
Rolling updates.
Okay. Next, service object.
So one thing, if I want to go back, is there, suppose for example, I updated it and customer's application stopped working. He said that, oh, please go back to the older version.
No, there is no concept. You need to remember the image and replace with the new image with the same command. Okay.
And the data will be lost, right? In that case.
Data will be lost. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
But this was an advantage of in Docker, right?
But definitely there is an option of rollback. Probably I don't know that, but definitely there's a concept of data loss. Okay. Otherwise it will not be successful. Service object. The service object is used for performing network load balancing. Okay, network load balancing, very important, and perform port mapping. The service object uses 3 ports: the target port, normal port, and host port. Target port is nothing but it is pod or container port. Port refers to service object port. Host port refers to host machine port. It is accessible from the external network. All this we'll understand it clearly. There are 3 types of service objects. Look at the theory first, then we'll see into practicals. Service object of type cluster IP, service object of type node port, service object of type load balancer. Let's try to understand the types of service objects. This is a default type of service object. What does that mean, Anuj? If you're creating a service object, if you don't specify any type of service object, by default, it is a service object of type cluster IP. This is the default service object in Kubernetes. When the service object is used, when we want the pods in the cluster to be communicating within each other, when you want the pods of the cluster to communicate within each other, not to the external network.
Correct.
For internal communication between the pods, we have to use service object of type cluster IP.
Cluster IP.
Next, node port. Node port, this is used when we want to access the pods from an external network. Anuj, we have seen this. We have seen accessing the pod from the external network. HTTPD we have created, and then we have taken the pod IP
public
address.
IP.
We have identified that pod is running on which node, and that node external IP we have taken it, and then we colon port number we have seen it. Agree?
Correct.
So this also used for external port. It also performs network load balancing. This will perform network load balancing. What is network load balancing? We'll see practically. Even if a pod is running on a specific slave, or a slave is nothing but specific node, but we can access it from other slave. You don't need to check this pod is running on which node and take that particular node external IP. Not all these are not required. Take any node. It performs network load balancing. So that is about node port. We'll see this practically. Load balancer. Service object of type load balancer. This is similar to node port. Used for external connectivity of the pod. Also performs network load balancing. Something same like node port. The only thing additional thing what it does is it assigns a additional IP for all the nodes combined together. This will assign additional IP. Then only every node will have one IP. If there are 3 nodes, 3 IPs. But when you create service object, a new IP get created.
Correct.
That's called external IP that gets created. So all this we'll see practically. So let's discuss about the concept of service object, how it performs network load balancing. Very important. The first example with respect to definition file, Anuj, we have created this one, pod-definition1.yaml. Okay.
Right.
Can I see the data content in this particular file? Yes, we can see that by using cat followed with the file name pod-definition1.yaml file.
YAML.
So this is what pod nginx pod. Okay.
Right.
Container using image nginx. So pretty simple pod. Okay, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay. So that's what I have mentioned here. This was the pod definition file. Agree?
Right.
This is already there.
Yes.
In our cluster, the pod definition file is already there. Okay.
Correct.
When you run this particular file, what happens? The pod gets created. Okay.
Yes.
Now, don't worry about this. I'm creating a YAML file. Okay. Kind, I'm writing it as service. That means I'm creating a service object.
Right.
Agree? Kind can be pod, kind can be replication set, kind can be deployment object, which you just seen it, and kind can be service, which I'm creating a service object. Did I mention any name of the type of the service object?
No.
Here. Type node port.
Okay, node port.
Type of the service object as node port. Cube CTL get all.
It will show all which we have created.
Okay. Perfect. Creating a service object. Name of the service object is Nginx-service.
Right.
Okay. Label, I'm writing it as author as Sunil. Specification section, what type of service object I'm writing? Node port. Okay. Under ports, service object will have 3 ports. Look at the theory. Service object will have 3 ports: target port, service object port, host port. Target port is always the Nginx default port.
Right. 80.
This is service object port. Okay, when you write port, it refers to service object port. Generally, service object port is same as target port. Keep that in mind.
Right.
Okay, that's it. Don't worry more about that. Node port is nothing but from host port, which we are mapping to. If in case if you want to access that particular service object, okay, that is 30,008. Okay, and you need to open
user defined.
Any number you can write it. You need to allow the firewall rules. Okay,
right.
To 30 so that you can access this particular pod service object.
Correct.
Selector field is important. You are creating service object for a particular pod. Anuj, you are creating service object of a specific pod. To which pod you are creating service object?
Nginx.
Where is that mentioned?
It's mentioned
using the selector field, it automatically selects the pod. This is a service object for a pod whose label is author Sunil type reverse proxy.
Okay, based upon the label.
Look at the Nginx pod. Author is Sunil and type is reverse proxy. Is it matching? That means this is a service object for the Nginx pod. Okay. So labels are used to identify. Okay, it's used. This service object labels are used should match with the labels of the pod. So as it is matching, this particular service object is for that particular port. Got it, Anuj? Okay.
Got it. So labels play a very important role.
Very important. So the more the labels, the more filtration you can have it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And by chance, if we have 2 created with the same kind, it will create a node port for both.
Yes. So that's the reason it's not recommended to do that. Okay. The more the unique, because there's unlimited labels, so that it should be unique. So let's do that. So let's create a service object, Anuj. Okay.
Right. And for this service object, that is already the pods are already created, and it will filter out with the label.
First, let's create the pod. I think the pod is not available. Let's create the pod.
Check it out. I hope it's there. If it is not, we can run that file. It'll get all.
Only that deployment object 4 pods is still running. Running. So there's no pod. So let's create this particular pod.
Right.
First. Okay. Pod got created.
kubectl get pods.
Then Nginx pod is getting created. Okay. It's running now. It's quick. Okay. Now I'm creating a service object.
How 1 sec. How many we have mentioned in Nginx?
That's a single pod. It's not a replication set. It's only one pod.
Okay, we are getting more output just because we have more pods.
No, this is pods related deployment object. Na?
I'm so
last
sorry.
example.
Yes. Single. That's why you always delete it. Na? That's why it's
okay.
Okay. The last one is created. Yes.
Yeah, this one is the latest one which I have.
Latest one. Yes. Got it.
Now let's create a service object.
And since the label matches with this one, Nginx pod label, this will fetch out.
Service object got created. Okay. Now running the service object. Okay.
Right.
Service object got created. Okay.
Right.
Cube CTL get all. Let's see the service object. You can see service object. This Nginx service object has been created. So you have clearly definition service object of type node port. Can you see this is also service object of type node port. Now kubectl get nodes wide output. Okay. Sorry, get no. Now the point of when we should go for creating service object is when you want that pods to be accessed externally. Okay, Anuj, in the last session also we have created a pod. We have access externally. We have not exclusively created a service object, isn't it?
Right.
But here, what is the advantage? You will get it, understand it. Okay.
So there was a command that you have mentioned that I hope you have run it already, just like a security group.
Which one?
If you go scroll up, it will there. It's there. Yes, firewall rule allow you.
This I already have executed. I already have executed that. Okay. So now this pod, where is this? This pod, I don't know. I don't want to know in which node it is running. There are 3 nodes, right? Anuj, I don't want to know in which node it is running. Okay.
Right.
I want to get the node output, wide output of nodes. We have 3 nodes, right? Okay.
Right.
You are not sure in which node the pod is running. Agree?
Correct.
Agree? But let's pick up randomly one external IP. Which one you want to pick up, Anuj?
Any. That's a 37, the middle one.
I'm taking the middle one. And the port mapping which you have done is 30,008. Agree?
Right.
Welcome to Nginx. Okay. Your pod load is not complete. You're not worried about which node. Yesterday we have identified which node it is running.
Got it.
Okay, which node it is running. That particular node IP address we have picked up. But here, are you worried about which node it is running? No. That means what is happening? Load balancing is happening at what level? Network level. So go back to theory. This is service object of what type?
Node port.
Service object of type node port. You're right. Go back to theory. This is used when we want to access the pods from the external network. We are doing it, isn't it, Anuj? Accessing from the external network. It also performs that's what it performs network load balancing. So even if the pod is running on a specific slave, we can access it from other slave. Any slave you can pick it up and access it. That is the beauty of service objects. Practically, service objects
we used to put web server. We used to use it for web servers.
Web server.
And we have only one pod, right? One pod distributed in 3 nodes. We don't have multiple pods.
There's only one pod.
One pod. Yes.
Okay. No.
But we don't know, and we don't bother when
we don't need to. You don't need to worry.
Which is
okay.
Running.
Yes, you're right. Yes, Balaji.
Yeah. Hi, Sunil.
Yes, Balaji.
Just 2 doubts. And in deployment, we have created only 3 pods. Why we got 4 pods?
Okay. We have performed rolling updates in the deployment object. What is the purpose of the deployment object, Balaji? Rolling updates.
Rolling updates.
Okay. What do you mean by rolling update? Why they have named it as conceptually they named as rolling update? Because the pod will be updated one after the other.
Okay.
If there are 3 pods, all the 3 pods will not be updated at once, Balaji. Okay, pods will be updated one after the other. Okay, and controller manager always makes sure that the 3 pods are running. Okay, so what happens in rolling updates? What happens in the rolling update is, you can see the first pod will be updated. Okay.
Okay.
Finally, 3 will be running. So once this is running, then second pod will be in pending. Second pod get updated, and third pod get updated, and the fourth pod will be again automatically removed. It takes one extra pod, and extra pod is used for updating one after the other, and finally the 3 pods will be running back again with the latest images. Okay, Balaji.
Okay, sir.
That's why it's called rolling updates.
And one more doubt.
Yeah.
In pod we can have different containers, right?
Yes, it is possible.
So we have not gone through that example, right?
We don't need to worry about this because internal communication between the pods is also possible. So we don't need to complex that. Okay. Better to have one container in one pod. Okay. Okay, Balaji. Yeah.
Thank
you. Next. So Anuj, 3 types of service objects are there.
Cluster IP, node port, and
default is cluster IP.
Cluster IP.
That
it
is
is
used
for internal
network. When you don't want the port to be available external. Node port for external network and network load balancing. Okay.
Right.
Load balancer. This is something load port, node port only. Something similar to service object of type node port. Which one? Load balancer service object. Used for external connectivity. It performs network load balancing. The only thing is you'll get external additional IP. Okay.
Right.
From all the nodes. Okay. So let's discuss about this. To discuss about this, I want to showcase an example. I want to showcase a simple example to explain about the service object of type load balancer, Anuj. Okay, the third one is load balancer, right? Service object of type.
Right.
Third one is service object of type load balancer. To showcase the service object of type load balancer, I want to showcase a small project to explain practically where exactly service object of type load balancer is used. Assuming there is a Python based application which is used for accepting a note. Okay. That's called as a voting app application. So this voting app application accepts the vote and passes it to the temporary database using Redis. What is the first application? Voting application. Okay. This voting application is developed by using
Python.
And whenever you cast a note, that will be stored in a temporary inline database. Okay, not a permanent database. Okay. And the temporary database, what they're using is Redis.
Okay.
From the Redis, the data is passed to worker application using .NET. The actual application is worker application, where the data is where the complete application is running is called as a worker application. This worker application is built using .NET. The data is passed to the worker application created using .NET. The .NET based application analyzes the data and stores it in a permanent database using Postgres. The permanent database what they are using is
Postgres. That should be under, right? Worker app.
Okay, whatever it can be.
Up arrow. Yeah.
From the Postgres is the permanent database. The results will be shown on an application created using Node.js. If you are casting the vote, you should able to finally see the result to which mandate you have casted the vote. That is called as result tab. Okay. The final end user will see the result. This is developed by using Node.js. So this is the actual infrastructure of the application. Okay. Have a look at the project structure. The Redis and Postgres database pods needs to be assigned with cluster IP. Agree? The Redis and Postgres needs to be assigned with a cluster IP because we don't want this to be accessed from external network. It's for internal. Agree or not?
Right.
Service object of type cluster IP.
Cluster IP.
Yes, because we don't want this pod to be accessed external to the network for security reasons, whatever it is, isn't it?
Right. Right.
Yes. As cluster IP is used for internal communication. Very good. The voting app and result app needs to be assigned of type load balancer. The voting app and result app should be accessed as a load balance service object because it should be accessed to external network.
Right.
Okay. This should be of service object of type load balancer. Okay. So to showcase this application, we need to have how many definition files? 5 definition files. For one is for voting app. One is Redis pod, the worker application, Postgres, and the result app. We need to have 5 definition files. Finally, these are all pods, and all these pods should have a backend images. So images are already available. If someone has created already this application, those images are maintained in hub.docker.com. So those using those images will be creating 5 pods. Okay. .NET is a worker application, is a standalone application. So we don't need a pod. We don't need a service object for this particular worker app. So we need to have 4 service objects. Okay. It is a standalone application. We don't need a service object because it's a standalone application. So we don't need a service object for that particular application. So finally, how many definition files you should have? 5 definition files and 4 service objects. Total 9 YAML files you should have it. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So this is voting app. That's the first one, Python. Okay. This is the result app. Anuj.
Right.
Finally, voting app and result app. Okay.
Correct.
Worker pod, the actual application. Redis, temporary inline database, and Postgres pod. Okay. Fine.
Correct.
We are done with 5 definition files and 4 service object file. Using the selector field, you have to map it to that particular pod. This is service object for Redis.
Right.
Anuj, are you understanding? Okay.
Yeah.
In this service object, Redis should be
cluster IP.
Cluster IP. Internal communication.
Internal.
Agree? Anuj, are you understanding?
Right.
These Redis and Postgres should be cluster IP because we don't need to be accessed external network.
Correct.
As we don't specify, as you have in the service object, most important point, we have not specified any type of service object. As we have not specified any type of service object, by default, it is service object of type cluster IP. Next, result app. Result app should be service object of type load balancer.
Load balancer.
You can say load balancer. Okay. Okay, like this, I have all the definition files. Okay. Where is it available? CD cube project 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 definition files. Anuj. Okay.
Right.
So I have all the 9 definition files. Okay. If you want, you can get the definition files here in this using GitHub repository in case you want to download it. This is for quick reference for you. YAML files, you don't need to write the YAML file. Okay. So next, what we need to do, you need to run this file. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pods. 1, 2, 3, 4 for 4 service definition.
4
files.
services.
Let's do that. First pod.
Your voting pod created. Redis pod.
Redis pod. Worker pod. Postgres pod. Result app. 4 pods. It's running. Okay. 4 service definition files. First service definition file. Second service definition file. Third service definition file. Fourth service definition file. Get all. 5 pods and 4 service definition files should be available. Agree?
But we created only 4 pods, right?
5 pods we have created.
4.
Look at this. Voting 2,
Voting.
3, 4, 5.
Oh, right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And 1, 2, 3, 4 service definition files. Get all. 5 pods should be created and 4 service objects should be created. Okay. But quick observation, the worker pod will fail. Worker pod is having some issues with the image, so it is failing. So you don't need to worry about this. Why I'm showcasing this example to experience the service object of type load balancer.
Load balance.
All the images are available in the community called Docker samples. It is there in the Docker hub. Connection between the worker pod and Postgres pod is having some issues, so that's the reason you're getting failures. But the point is, how many service objects of type load balancer, Anuj?
Load balancer.
2.
1.
2.
2.
Because
yes.
because voting app should be accessed external to the network, result app
Right.
should be accessed external to the network.
Right.
Agree? So
Right.
where can you see that particular service object? So here in the cluster dashboard. In the cluster dashboard, can you see services? Anuj?
Yes.
Voting app of type external load balancer, result of external load balancer.
Yep.
Clear? Redis of type cluster IP, Nginx as node port, like this. Okay.
Because while creating the service, we have choose
external load balancer name.
External load balancer name. We have node port. We have mentioned node port, right? So that's why it created, is it?
Yes, you are right.
So now, whatever is mentioned node port, that is external load balancer. Whatever
no. Look at this.
We need to go to the file then.
No. Look at this. My point is, showcase this example. Load service object of load balancer. What it should do technically? A new IP address should be created
for all nodes. Yes.
For all nodes together. This is the new IP address. Okay. If you want to cast your vote, that is, if you want to cast your voting app, you need to access the service object of this particular voting app. Service object is of voting app is external load balancer.
Load balancer. Okay.
So I'm clicking on this. So what will happen? The voting application should open.
Open.
Do you want to vote for cats or dogs? This is 2 options.
Right.
Are you understanding? This 100, 104, 197, 196, 131, is it a IP address of the node? No.
No.
It's a new IP address that's created. It performs network load balancing.
No, got it, sir. It is service IP. Yes.
Service IP. And yes, you are right.
It doesn't matter. HACMP cluster, we have similar concept.
Yes. Got it?
Yes,
so that's the concept of service object. So in the same way, result app also, you can access it. Okay. There's some issues with the result app, I think so. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right now, no votes are both are equal. Okay. Now, when you perform some voting, now there are some issues with the worker board. So internal communication error has been happened, but there's some internal communication happened. But I hope you have understood the importance of service object of type load balancer. A new IP address gets created. So we will never practically in the real time, we will never worry which node the pod is running. Never.
Yes.
Agree?
Right.
Take a service whenever you want the pods to be accessed to external network. We go for service object of type load balancer.
Load balancer.
Yes. Okay, clear. So
Yes.
this is what I want to project. The service object and the deployment object. Okay, deployment object. These are the two objects which I want to discuss in this session. So with this, we have completed Kubernetes. There are other objects also, but they are not much important. There is a namespace object also there. But even I'm not familiar, but I have given a strong foundation about this Kubernetes. Okay, so with this, we have completed our session and we have completed our batch. Okay,
Oh,
thank you very much for your support and providing me, helping me in delivering this particular knowledge transfer with you all. Maheshwara.
Actually, so I think if we go through the video recordings, little bit I have doubts here and there, but I can go through the
Yeah,
recordings.
if you go through the video recording, you'll clearly understand it. Okay.
Yeah, and
And if you have
one
any
thing,
doubts also, you can attend the next batch also, specific sessions. If you want to have any doubts,
yeah,
you know,
yes,
you're
with related
welcome.
to Kubernetes, I want to attend again actually. So
You can mail me whenever the next Kubernetes training happens in the next DevOps batch.
so
I
it
will
is
update you.
valid. How long, Sunil? Actually, when
Which one?
till when? Means like I can attend multiple sessions, or is there a limitation actually?
There is no limitation, Maheshwara. Okay, so we had you have we have your database in our we have our old participants database. So whenever you want free, you can mail us. We'll share you the details. Okay.
And second thing, Sunil, I want you to intimate us actually regarding that. Sorry,
Terraform.
Terraform, yeah.
Yes. We'll
yes,
update you.
yes.
We'll update you.
And also, yeah, course certification we will get. Am I right, Sunil, for
You
this?
send an email, you'll get a course completion certificate from our training institute. Okay.
Thanks, Sunil. It was excellent session, and I appreciate your efforts, Sunil. Actually,
Thank you,
so I
Maheshwara.
attended both AWS and DevOps.
Okay.
So from
I hope it's a comprehensive training in all. We have make sure that everything was
yeah,
perfectly delivered. Okay. Thank you,
yes, thanks,
Maheshwara, for
Sunil.
your feedback.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sunil.
Thank you, Anuj.
This is Ashwani.
Ashwini. When you call me, say it as Anuj.
But yes, the way you deliver is fabulous.
Anuj alias Ashwini. Okay.
Alias, right. And one
Okay.
thing I would like to thank you on behalf of Anuj. Anuj got a very good hike,
Okay.
and
Okay.
AWS and DevOps knowledge really helped him. He got a 38% hike, and
Okay.
he resigned
Okay.
from the current company, and he'll be joining a new one.
He got the offer.
Yeah, he got the offer. He resigned yesterday.
So is the training helped him to get the skills?
Yeah, I explained him.
Okay. Thank
But
you.
he rarely joins
Thank you,
the batch.
Ashwini. Thank you, Ashwini. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes. So let's have interaction with some of the participants. Shika.
Sure.
Yeah. Hi, Sunil. Thank you for this training.
Thank you, Shika. Thank you very much. Okay.
If I go through the video and if I'll have any like doubts, so can I mail that?
You can mail me the doubts, or if you want to attend any specific topics, again, you're welcome. Okay.
Okay, sure. Like I want to attend some Ansible and Docker topics again.
You're welcome. The new batch is just started. Okay. You mail me at that point of time whenever the new upcoming topics, whatever you have it, you can join it, Shika.
Okay. And are we getting any certification for this, like the course completion?
You get a course completion certificate from the training institute, Ashika. You have to mail us, okay, saying that you need a course completion certificate. Our team will create a soft copy and mail it to you.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Shika.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, Ravi. Ravi Tene.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Ravi.
Very nice.
Thank you.
I was missed so many sessions, but unfortunately, due to the workload.
Okay. No problem. You can divide the videos, okay, or you can attend the live training one more time. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Please respond in chat box. Okay. So if you're happy with the training, please share your references. Thank you very much. And,
we are already putting you on public platform and announcing it wide open. Please go and join.
Thank you.
Sunil, there's one question from my side.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you like your organization will provide any certification and performance training on some like testing?
No,
not that.
Not
One of my friend was like trying one of my friends asked me that your training institution will provide that or not. Yeah, because your teaching skills very good.
Actually,
I really appreciate
actually,
that.
what happened is recently one of the participants attended interview in Cognizant. I'm strange to know this. The person who take that interview and the person who attended the interview are from back-to-back batches, Anuj. Okay. Okay. The person who is taking the interview, is just 2 months senior than the person who is giving the interview. Okay. And then eventually they happen to in the interview also they happen to know that both are from the Logic Labs Technologies, and the person who is taking the interview want to prove he wants him the improve to prove that you are from Logic Labs Technology. So we have provided course completion certificate for him. Okay. Okay. So eventually my plan is in this rate, if I'm providing the training in all the organizations, we have Logic Labs participants in all the organizations. Okay.
Definitely,
Sunil,
Sunil.
nobody is providing such a good, fabulous training. And price is one thing, but delivery and the way you deliver is very, very good.
Yeah.
And anybody can join without thinking a second that it's okay.
Thank
Let's
you.
join it.
Yeah, I
Thank
agree.
you. Thank
I
you.
agree with him. Like it's
Thank
really
you.
appreciating.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you all, and all the
Thank you,
best for your
Sunil.
career. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you,
Sunil.
Sunil.
Thank you all.